Yeah, so if we can some oxygen. Okay. So welcome, everyone. We still have the waiting room. Okay, good. Peace. Greeting, Kelly, George, Mina,
Magdi,
Holger, Alan, Trish, John, Camila Lopez. Hello, Camila. Aaron, Patrick, Holly. Hi, Jenny. Richard. Hello, Esther. And this is another Jenny also, is it? Maybe not. Frank, Margot, Malcolm, Lisa, and Karim. The volume, did you, Trish, are you mentioning the issue with the volume? Is there? Let me see. Okay. So yes, at some level there is this wind that creates waves, I guess, on the surface. But we're not trying to calm the ocean, are we? That's not the meaning of our inquiry. It's not about calming the mind or calming the world. But it's about a deeper understanding. The understanding about our true nature, about reality. About the splendor of being. that which is the fabric, the essence of being. Not the product of thinking, that which you cannot find in the mind. Meaning that which is not the product of any activity. Your true nature, the reality of universal consciousness, precedes thoughts, experientially you know that as the presence that you know and you sense that you are. Before the body, before the world. whatever appears to you. You are there already. As awareness, as reality. Only in imagining yourself as something else than awareness. Only upon such imagination do you experience fear and worries and concerns. But in presence, in this moment, there is no need to imagine yourself in any way. You don't need to limit yourself or condense yourself or identify yourself. Because everything is the self. You already are. Which is being. And being is non-phenomenal. Like the silence which is between the sounds. As well as the silence which takes on the form of sound. The silence does not identify with sound, although it takes on the form of sound. So as you take on the form of thoughts and sensations, you don't need to identify. With sensations or thoughts. They appear in you like the reflections of the sun on the surface of the pond. It is when you identify with thoughts, sensations, that the inner struggle starts. That you experience yourself as somebody who is subject to something that you need to fix. It has become a habit to engage in safeguarding, protecting myself from thoughts and perceptions and sensations. This habit is maintained every moment that you perceive yourself, imagine yourself, and accept yourself to be a son, somebody existing in time and space, a daughter, a mother, father, somebody. And it is in always this moment that you can remain as you are, without identifying yourself with images and thoughts about the past and the future. It is in the now that you are free from illusion. Because in the now, there is the eternity of being. And there is no time, no separate anything in presence. And the now is not an empty now. There can be a hearing, sensing, perceiving, without identification. rather than this current moment being squeezed between past and future. Recognize the infinity of this current moment. This way, in whatever you do, you never leave yourself. You never leave the current moment. Because this current moment is not lacking anything. And is not divided into me and not me. It is all me. Okay, so if you have any questions, please unmute yourself. I think people can unmute themselves. Holger, I believe, no? Okay, thanks. So any questions? And Holger.
Thank you, Magdi. So this peace, this presence, it's not a state, it's our true nature.
It's the nature of everything. A state is observable. It has a certain phenomenal aspects. It feels a certain way. It can be described in a certain way. But the peace is a is there a volume thing I need to look at here? Let me see. Okay. Okay.
I think your volume is good.
The volume is good. Okay. Okay. So it's the peace is the absence of worries, concerns, fears, the absence of unhappiness. So whenever unhappiness is absent, we are happy by default, and we are peaceful. And peace doesn't depend on any particular experience that somebody is having or any particular state of the world or of the body. So there can be some activities and issues that one is dealing with on the surface in life, in the body. There may be something to tend to. But it doesn't have anything to do with the peace. It's at the mind level. We tend to the body, the world. So a state refers to somebody. There is a certain identification when there is a state. Of course, there is the state of the weather, for example, the state of the world, but that's more at the perceptual level. You're perceiving that there's more turmoil in the world today, or you're perceiving it's a cloudy day. It's a state of the weather, I could say. So the mind is, you could say, is in the realm of states. But the unhappiness is in identifying with any state, identifying positively or negatively, seeking or avoiding. So then there's something phenomenal that matters to you. But in the peace, nothing phenomenal really matters to you. Doesn't mean you don't engage in it, whichever way you feel like, whichever way you want to. But it doesn't really matter. At a deep level, it doesn't really matter. Nothing depends, nothing of any importance depends on the world, the body, the mind. So yes, of course, at the body level, and the mind level, there is things happening. That's in a way the nature of the world and the body is the heart beating and thoughts appearing. But from the perspective of reality, the reality of awareness right now, irrespective of how the world or the body is appearing, I am unmoved, unstirred. Like water can take on the shape of steam or ice. It matters not what form you take. because your essence remains as it is, formless.
Would it be okay to say that there is a peace of mind and a peace of being? Or does it make it just too complicated?
The peace of mind comes from the peace of being, the peace of God's peace.
Yeah.
So the peace of mind is an échantillon, a sample of God's peace.
Beautiful.
But the objective way of speaking it is not the peace of mind. But it's inevitable that upon the peace of being, the peace of mind follows. But when the peace of being appears in the mind, has no cause. It's not as a result of getting a promotion or the body getting healthier. It has no cause. Peace has no cause. At the mind level, we attribute a cause as an afterthought. We attribute a phenomenal narrative about the peace of mind. But it's only one source, and it's infinite and invisible, and it's the magnificence of consciousness, of awareness.
So it's a gift.
It's a gift from God to itself.
Yeah.
It's a gift that doesn't stop gifting from itself to itself. There is no lack in God's kingdom. There is no reality to anything else. There is no secondary reality in God's kingdom. There is no separate me and separate other in God's kingdom. But sometimes we give too much importance to thoughts and feelings and states, so that confuses us. feelings seem to be so important.
That's why it said, when you see the Buddha, kill the Buddha. I mean, that we don't hold on to anything, that we don't.
Whatever you see, whatever you perceive is already dead. Because where is the perception you had a minute ago or a second ago? Whatever you perceive is in time. Only the reality which perceives is eternal, is not in time. Anything that you see is objective. A subtle or a gross form, whether it's a subtle sensations or feeling, or a gross form like a Mount Everest. Everything you perceive is a form. We don't see the belief that I am a person. We don't see it, but we see all its consequences. The horror show. Yeah, we feel something's off, something lacking. So indirectly we see. You are the seer. And the seer has no shape and form, no dimension. It's not located in a house or in a room or in a brain. The seer, the perceiver, is undeniable, but it's not a separate perceiver. All the negative emotions, the fear, are falsehoods because they are rooted in a false premise. That reality is personal. So we come to the understanding, also the experiential understanding of what I is in this moment.
Thank you, Magdi.
Okay.
Hi, Magdi. May I ask a question?
Yes. Hello, George.
Hi there. I'm not sure if I'm formulating this well, but I believe in the meditation you said something like, it's all me, it's all us. And yet I've had some other non-duality teachers say that none of it is us. Essentially that we have no control, things just happen. Any semblance of control is just an illusion. Can you straighten me out about this?
So it always revolves around how we are using the term me. Or I. It's all I, it's all me. None of it is I, none of it is me. I have no control. Depends what you mean by I. I don't do anything. Depends what you mean by I. So it all revolves around when we are hearing these words, what is the speaker referring to when they're saying me or I? So we all have a sense that I am choosing to raise my hand. It's not George who is choosing to raise Magdi's hand. I'm choosing to use my hand, to raise my hand. I'm choosing to join the satsang today. I'm choosing to go to the store, and we have a sense of that. We all have that sense that I'm the one who chooses. But we believe that this I is a separate chooser located in, I guess, in the brain or in the body or in it's particular chooser. It's a personal chooser. But when we look for the personal chooser in our experience, we only find the thought or the belief that there is a personal chooser. We actually don't find a personal chooser. But when we speak of I choose, without referring to I as some personal command center, and we all have a sense of I. But when we refer to I without localizing it, we're referring to whatever I is in this moment. So when we look in this moment to find what this I is, we don't find a separate command center, but we do find awareness. We find that there is consciousness, there is something rather than nothing. There is a reality which may not at all, not have anything to do with what we're perceiving, because this could be a hallucinogenic dream, but there is a reality, which we refer to as I in our lingo. And this I is not a belief. It is an experience. We all experience awareness, not objectively, not phenomenally, but we experience it as I am aware. There is awareness, undeniable, and I'm aware is undeniable. Whatever that I is, I perceive is undeniable. Whatever it is that's perceiving, it's undeniable. So there's a reality. Reality cannot be denied. It stands on its own. It is its own valid. It validates itself. It's its own proof. So when we contemplate, I am, we are talking about reality is. Replacing the word I with the word reality, but they're synonymous in the way I use the term I. So you need to switch a little bit to language in a way to see, to comprehend that I, reality, I am everything. Because reality is everything. In terms of using the language of everything, the language of things and worlds and bodies and universes, whatever you want to call them. Whatever it is, dinosaurs and blue man on the moon, whatever it is, whatever exists cannot be apart from reality. So the reality, experientially, we know it as amness, I am, the amness being. That's not subject to debate. Is your amness different from my amness? Are you more yourself than I am myself because you're in the southern hemisphere and I'm in the northern hemisphere? It doesn't apply. Amness is not relative, it's absolute. There are no degrees of amness. There are degrees of mind states, body states, physical health states, but there are no degrees in amness and being. There are no degrees in reality, no gradations in reality.
Okay, so when I chose to ask you that question, whoever the I was, before I asked the question, there was the thought, here's a question I'd like to ask Magdi. Now, that thought was not chosen. I didn't decide in advance, hey, I'm going to have this thought. So it could be said that that thought, I'm going to ask this question, arose spontaneously. And that spontaneous thought that just arose led to the question. So looking at it that way, it appears that the question just arose spontaneously.
Yes.
There was no I there asking that question.
Exactly. It's as an afterthought, we may say, I thought that thought, but which is an afterthought, but this afterthought can be right or can be wrong. It is wrong when the afterthought says, I, George, I, there is an identity. I as George, or I as this brain, this particular very, active brain chose this thought. That would be the wrong afterthought. But the afterthought that may say, I, consciousness chose this thought. That's not an incorrect afterthought. Why? Because as I explained a minute ago, when we were speaking about consciousness, we're speaking about reality. If there is any choice anywhere, it cannot belong to an illusion. An illusion cannot make a choice, or a falsehood cannot make a choice, or a half reality or three-quarter baked reality cannot make a choice. It's if there is such a thing as choosing, it belongs to reality. So when you had that thought of, I want to ask this question, that thought came to you from reality, because there's only one source. It came to you, it means presented itself to the mind, you meaning the mind. But you are not the mind, but this, as a way of speaking, we say to me, it presented itself via the mind to itself. In other words, the source presented via the mind a thought, I want to ask this question, via the mind to itself, because it's not the mind that perceives.
Right.
The mind is a transcriber in a way. So there was
it's the intermediary recipient.
Yes, the scribe. Right?
Yes.
But the perceiver, is you.
Right.
So I just wanted to say one more thing about I am all of it and I am none of it. Both statements are correct when understood correctly. As reality, I am everything. Everything is myself. There is no me and not me in reality. There's no possibility for not me, because a non-me would be non-reality. So in reality, I am the world. And that's the experience of the body. The body is the universal body. It's a cosmic body. But it's been via habit. It's been densified. It's been materialized, like forged, with a hammer in the fire to be a dense sensation, a dense, some image of a dense, fixed. But so that's the statement, I am all of it. Now, I am nothing is that the I am is not made out of things. That the essence of everything is no thing, not a thing. A thing does not arise out of a thing. All arising arise out of the nothingness, like out of if you vibrate the air in a certain frequency, there is a sound that arises, but there are actually no sounds, in the air.
Right. Yes.
As a metaphor, of course. So all phenomenal experiences that we experience, their essence and their substance and their reality is nothing, is not a thing. So there are no things in the reality. There's no things. Not that there is any issue with conceptualizing things and using concepts, and I'm not talking about that. That's perfect.
Yeah, the mind creates things.
Yes, and we.
Or the illusion of things, right? The concept of things.
Yes, I mean, and it's consciousness ultimately that is creating the concepts via the mind, utilizing the mind as to create concepts and to therefore better organize and better manage its phenomenal creation. Like you create a stage, and then you you have characters on the stage and they have certain dress codes and certain furniture and certain ways of, it's a stage. This is an orchestration. It's an orchestration. What we call the world, the body, the mind, is that it's all orchestrated. They're instruments of orchestration, but the perceiver is always I. Is I. I, again, not I, a condensed form, not a I as a particular mind, but I as the reality of awareness right now, our direct experience right now. So both I am nothing and I am everything are correct if understood correctly.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Magdi. Thank you.
Okay, George. Okay. So any questions? Okay, well, thank you all. Lovely to be with you. And Kelly, and Trish, Holger, George, and Frank, Holly, John, Mina, Premiera, Jenny Tomlinson, Jenny, Malcolm, Alan, Grace, and Patrick, Walter, Richard, Marga, Karim, Gisela, Zoe, and Manoj.
Thank you, Magdi.
All very lovely.
Thank you, Magdi. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Thanks, Magdi.
Thank you.
Always.
Thank you, Magdi.
Thank you, Magdi.
Thank you, Magdi.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for all the questions and answers.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.